title and that, you know, thumbnail, what I think about that story. But yeah, that's one of the most depressing stories ever told, the Book of Job, and it's depressing because it seemed like if you notice on the picture, I got God got poker chips in his hand, the devil got bills in his hand. And my man's is just caught in the middle because, like if you look at the story, they basically placed a wager on my man's life. And it's not so much that they placed a wager on his life that bothered me, right? But it's the fact that they placed the wager on the nigga life and then they went and, he had a family, he had animals, he had land, you know what I'm saying? And all this stuff is alive. Like it's a living farm, right? You know what I mean? You got animals and stuff, livestock. These are real creatures. They got lives. What do they? What like? Why did their lives have to get taken? He got children. His children have children, type shit. Like, why did their lives have to be taken? You know what I'm saying? And it just make you look at. I don't know. It made me look at that, and I was a child. I usually use the age 6 years old as the age I discovered everything. But I was probably, I don't know how fucking old I was when I heard it. Could have been like 8 years old, whatever. But when I heard the story, I know the route my life had took as a child, and somebody tried to tell me about the Book of Job or whatever, and I started reading. I think my grandma, somebody, and she she did not expect that reaction out of me once I heard the story, because I was super pissed off, and I said, well, play this. If you black and you are a child and you growing up black in America, there's literally two things you don't shit on is anything dealing with Islam or anything dealing with Christianity. Like you don't question that shit, or because it can have violent consequences or whatever if you do. But I didn't give a fuck, and I went there and I was like, damn, dog, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they took his kids, his like, damn, God, like, that nigga bold as hell, like, so he just be up there gambling. And I think my grandma was taken aback when I said that, like, she was like, what the fuck? Like, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? She goes, no, because you just read to the end. Yeah, read to the end. He got all that shit back, but there wasn't the same wife, and there wasn't the same kids, and there wasn't the same. Do you get what I mean? Like, this nigga had a whole new life, so it was like, damn. So, like, all them other people' life didn't mean anything to him, and she was like, well, no, you don't. That's what it was as a kid. That's what they say. They say, God working mysterious ways. You don't question the Lord, and that just seemed like bullshit to me. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, what I took away from it was God a hoe ass nigga. You know what I'm saying? That's what I took away from this shit. God a hoe ass nigga. But I was a kid, you know what I mean, and I got a way more deeper understanding of things. But I still don't care for the story. That's still a horrible story for me. You know what I'm saying? To use as an example to somebody about faith. Like, if anything, that shit, like I said, it made me agnostic, and the Gnostics believe, that that okay, the Gnostics believe that if you gotta look deeper into what Jesus is talking about, that's what the Gnostics believe. The Gnostics believe you gotta look deeper into that because Heinz the goalie. The Gnostics believe that, Jesus was sent by a deity named Sophia, which is a deity created by another deity, which is the real God, and that our God, the God that did create us and created our universe and all that or whatever, the cosmos we live in or whatever, uh, and and like I said, that 607 Unk nigga, some of this shit is what this nigga was saying or whatever. Like, but you gotta search for this and look for the truth, whatever. But I'm just giving you an idea what Gnosticism is. Anyway, they believe that the creator of this, universe, whatever, is indeed wicked, and like all of the qualities he possessed. So there is no devil or whatever. Do you understand? It's just one deity. Do you get what I mean? It's just one deity, and like I said, the Book of Job, whatever, the light that cast that shit in. backs that Gnosticism shit 100% up to where it's a cruel. It's like it is a cruelty. You know what I'm saying? It's a cruelty to it. It's a cruelty or whatever to that story, man. And so I had a bunch of people that lost a bunch of people, whatever. But it's a cruelty to that story if you really like look at it from an analytical perspective. If you take the old, being amazed and astonished and shit off of that, you take the amazement and astonishment off of that or whatever, and you just look at the story for what it is. That shit is cruel as hell. Do you get what I'm saying? He killed the livestock. He killed the kids. He killed the parents. He killed his whole bloodline, and just to get him to be like, "Fuck you, nigga." Like that shit is psychotic, bro. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, and I don't know. Like I said, like if you know about the Gnosticism or Gnostics or whatever and shit, you know about Sophia and the demiurge, whatever, which is what they say Yahweh is that he put like all the seven deadly sins or whatever. Like I said, and we made in his image and we got all this rage and this anger and all this other stuff going on inside of us. Do you get what I mean? And we made in his image. Yeah, that lines perfectly. If you know anything about science or astrophysics or anything like that or whatever, and you look at where the Milky Way galaxy is or whatever, and how close it is to a black hole, and how we are literally in that range to where we cannot escape this. We can't escape the Milky Way, bro. Do you understand what I'm saying? We probably can send probes and shit out there or whatever, but we can't escape the Milky Way. So, like, it's crazy how people be so dogmatic with their religion and stuff that they don't want to look at certain things and where these ideas came from. If the people that predate are, forced as Christianity and Islam and shit, was telling you or drawing pictures and shit, and then you go and you seen your little Hubble space little magnifying glass up there in the cosmos and shit, and it's sending you pictures and shit. It don't have to look exactly like the drawing some motherfucker, you know what I'm saying, drew in like the year 400 or some shit like that. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not gonna look the same or whatever because this how you know what I mean. That was his interpretation of it. But we can now actually see for ourselves how stuff look and what it is. So when they say you live in a jar or whatever, that's what they mean. You stuck in a cosmos that you can't really escape out of. We are kind of in a jar, maybe not the planet or whatever, but your galaxy is in a jar, bro. Because if you leave, it's like watch the movie Interstellar, motherfucker. Watch Interstellar, and they show you that as soon as they left the Milky Way galaxy, there was a fucking black hole right there. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like. It's deep. So with a understanding of being able to apply, ancient texts or whatever from like mud people and shit to now, the Gnosticism shit seemed way more realistic than everything else because everything else is trying to get you to be like complacent with shit. Everything else trying to get you to be complacent with that shit. And it's just like that shit never sat right in my spirit. That nigga lost his wife, he lost his kids, he lost his farm, he lost his home, he lost his dignity, he was covered in sores, and it was like he was tortured for a bet, bro. Like, there's like no other way to put that. That's what it says unpopular opinion. It's just my interpretation of the book. I'm not trying to convince anybody or convert anybody to anything. But this is just my interpretation of that book. That book was just, it was like play this. If they ever, like, they really want to make a movie that's like gore and horror and shit like that or whatever, like a horror movie, that'd be a dog ass horror movie, the Book of Job or whatever. That shit'd be hard as hell because like that shit is torture, nigga. Like you going through all of this shit and it's just like, you love me, bet. And it's like that shit is psychotic, bro. That shit is psychotic, bro. Like that shit. Imagine if a boyfriend did that shit. You know what I'm saying? Imagine if a boyfriend did that shit. She don't really love me. I'm gonna call her a series of unfortunate events to test her love. And if she still, if she's like, this all your fault, Tyrone, I'm gonna marry this bitch. Like, that's psychotic, bro. That shit is psychotic, bro. I'm gonna put this bitch through all this bullshit, right? I'm gonna get rid of her previous kids, right? The bitch gotta get rid of the house that she lived in with the other niggas, their furniture, all the clothes she wore in front of them niggas, anything them niggas ever seen her in. Her whole life, basically. I'm gonna test her love like that. You wouldn't even do that to your child, bro. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, that shit is psychotic, bro. The shit we was taught as children to be okay with, bro. The stories they told us, the religions we practice. That shit is psychotic, bro. That shit is some. If you don't see that, it's cult like. If you don't see it, it's cult like. That one story, just that one story. If you don't see that shit, is cult like. That's insane, bro. That's insane, bro. That's insane, bro. Like, you torture somebody into loyalty, or you torture them to test their loyalty. I blame the other nigga. You know, that nigga said you wasn't gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit is psychotic, bro. That shit is psychotic, bro. From a if we apply all these laws, like I said, y'all niggas love retroactively sending niggas to fucking jail and shit. You know what I'm saying? Let's throw this shit on the fire. You know what I'm saying, bro? This nigga gambled on this nigga. Literally gambled with this nigga life, bro. So what if he would have failed? So if he would have failed, would he had deserved that shit? Like, you get what I mean? Like, this nigga minding his own business, doing this thing and shit. Y'all was on good terms, and you just out of nowhere decide, I'ma fuck with you. But you know, if you just take this hazing, nigga, that bitch you really want, I'll get you that bitch. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck is that, bro? Like, seriously, what the fuck is that, bro? What is that, bro? That's not love. That sure the fuck ain't love, bro. It ain't love, bro. So what is that? What is that, man? Because it ain't love. Love is not that shit. Love is not. Love is, hey, man, I ain't even let you do that to my nigga like that, bro. Like, fuck what you talking about. Do you get what I'm saying? Fuck what you talking about. That's my man. It's like, we ain't even on bad terms and shit. Well, I bet you if you take that shit away, I bet you if you get the fuck out my face. Y'all supposed to be beefing, all of a sudden y'all can gamble and shit. Come on, bro. Like I said, the Gnostics say it ain't two niggas, it's one nigga running a scam. And think about that shit. Like, so LA, like, so like, think about with the logic. How do you trust every bad day to just be, and it's like it's just a test from the Lord. That's what niggas be saying, bro. This is the test from the Lord. And it's like, really? you know what I'm saying? Really? Like, I get it, controversy builds character, but like I said, every gay story, Hercules and his 12 trials. That shit makes sense, but again, that's another story of some deity fucking with a nigga, dog. That's another story of a deity fucking with a nigga, bro. Do you get what I'm saying? The story of Hercules. That's another story of a deity fucking with a nigga, bro. Just cause he was motherfucking born, the nigga didn't do nothing wrong. Lose his family, get accused of the shit. Right? Actually, I think he did do that shit. But it wasn't. It was under different circumstances where he was drugged or some shit like that or whatever, and then he had PTSD because he was a soldier, he was a warrior, right? You know what I'm saying? One of the greatest warriors. And they drugged him and set him up, whatever. So he actually did do the shit, but it was like under false circumstances or whatever. Regardless, again, another fucking deity fucking with a nigga, and that nigga story end badly. His story don't end like motherfucking Job's. His shit end like Samson's and shit. You know, Hercules dies. But nevertheless, bro, I don't like that story, Book of Job. And it's just, like I said, it's so many different... There's so many better stories to use. You know what I'm saying? Stories with Jesus in them. That's way better if you wanted to like teach somebody about faith or understanding. But the Book of Job, that's one of those books that make you like. It's one of those Gnostic. It got to be a Gnostic book, and they reworded it or they didn't understand what the fuck they was writing because they afraid that bro. I hate that book. I hate that book. Cause that ain't a book you tell a dude that's like on the ledge. That's not a book you bring up. It's not a book you want to bring up. You damn sure don't want to read it to him because he go jump. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it be like that. You know what I'm saying? It be like that though. Like I said, it's an unpopular opinion, and it's you welcome to disagree. Y'all welcome to disagree to this shit. By the way, I welcome you to disagree because you know. I don't know. I got an idea what the fuck I'm talking about, but I don't know. I'm not always right. Do you get what I'm saying? So I'm not saying I'm right. It's not about right or wrong. This is about just flat out how a personal feeling. You know what I'm saying? Going through my own trials and tribulations, and the thought of God having 20 of me and the devil got 50 of me just pisses me off. Like, hey man, my life's not a fucking game. I got kids and shit like that. So yeah, that book is just. I just feel like. That book right there is if you want to be a Gnostic. That's the book you read to just fully convert to just, you know what? Yeah, this other shit ain't working, and it's just it's a different train of thought where it's like you plan for the negative shit. You prepare for the negative shit. You're not necessarily being a pessimist, but you prepare for the negative shit, and you aiming towards the positive, but you looking out for the speed bumps, which is the bad and the negative. You know what I mean? You're not doing good deeds to go to heaven or no shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You're doing good deeds because good deeds simply need to be done. You know what I mean? You don't expect rewards in this life from good deeds, right? The only thing you can be sure of is the bad shit. But the good deeds, you gotta make that shit happen. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's always room to be a good person, and it's always a time to be a good person. You know what I'm saying? It's just don't be a good person because you don't want to go to hell. Don't be a good person because you know what I'm saying? You expecting that shit to just, you know, you expecting something back from it and shit like that. Like it is we do need to change our thinking. You know what I'm saying? Fear dictates a lot of human behavior nowadays. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, that fear of going to hell creates a lot of fake positivity and a lot of fake benevolence. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, why don't you just do the right thing because it's the right thing to do? Why don't you just, you know, like we can make a better world. You know what I'm saying? Like God gave you a whole paradise, and we charging each other for water and air. We charging each other for food. We charging like it's a choice. You know what I mean? It's just a choice. You can choose to do the right thing. You can choose to treat somebody kind. You can choose. You got a choice. You don't have to be that way. You don't have to be an asshole. You know what I'm saying? But that's just how I feel about that book. That shit. I felt like that shit was bold. I felt like that book was just bold, and I think it's another story in there like that or whatever. But like I said, the kids. Like I think about like Gaza and shit like that or whatever. Like you know what I'm saying? Like these kids. What the fuck did these kids do to deserve that shit? What the fuck did the goat do? What did the horse do? Nigga, what did the cow do? What did the chickens do? Like read that shit. Everything got slaughtered and shit. And then the bandits and shit, all types of like, where did the bandits come from? Why these niggas didn't get licked? You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, that's just a depressing story, man. It's just a very depressing story. And if you're going through it, like say the hopeful part is the end where it's like, oh, I got a new house, I got a bigger house, okay. I got more cattle than I had the first time. I got more crops than I had the first time. And it's like, okay, the crops cool, but the cattle, again, was lit. The crops are cool. The new crops are cool. The new cattle, cool, but the old cattle was totally alive. Do you get what I mean? Like, I don't know if you ever had a farm. My family had a farm. We had one in Wilcox, Arizona. I did have favorite chihuahuas. I did have favorite motherfucking ducks and turkeys and shit. You know what I mean? Like, these animals was individually, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, man, like a lot of people are just disconnected from real humanity, which is, you know, compassion and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And Like you are a part of nature. You're a part of life. You're a part of everything. You know what I'm saying? You don't just when you get a certain age, you get to an age where you stop squashing bugs because you see them. You get what I mean? Because you got compassion. You understand this is a living thing and it's not bothering you. Do you get what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like it's like when somebody just starts squashing bugs and shit, and it's a grown ass man, and it's like, hey man, why you crush that ladybug like that? It's like that's a psychopath. That's why you did that shit. So it's like, yeah, that like I said, the story rubbed me the wrong way. That nigga had those kids was alive, his wife was alive, right? You know what I'm saying? His sons were alive, his sons' wives were alive, his daughters were alive, his daughters' husbands were alive, and then they just pawns in the game. You know what I'm saying? That nobody asked to be part of, mind you. You know what I'm saying? Nobody asked to be born. Nobody asked to be that nigga kids, and that was the only. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, like things in the Bible got away. The Bible got away throwing niggas under the rug and you know what I'm saying, excusing their murder or death, whatever, as though he was unclean or he was, you know what I'm saying. It's pretty fucking xenophobic and racist and shit. But like I said, my the ancient xenophobia aside, you know what I'm saying? What other than that, what was their real crimes and shit? You know what I'm saying? Like like it's like of all the wicked niggas and shit, and like was his family like the wickedest family, and he was the only nigga not wicked? Like you know what I'm saying? Like in India, the Bhagavad Gita, like it's a story in the motherfucking it's a story in that where Krishna comes to a prince and he's the only one in his family that's not wicked, and Krishna gives him the green light to just you know pull up on all of them, and he like, matter of fact, I'm gonna draw you down there, and I'm gonna whack him with you. That's what Krishna told the prince in the Bhagavad Gita. You know what I'm saying? Like that makes sense. Like, okay, my man is the only one out of his whole family that's legit, and the rest of the family they wicked. And these actually was like the rulers of the land or whatever. Like that's in this Indian theology or whatever. But the Book of Job, it's not like that. It's God got this nigga all on his own, and like I said, he suffered illnesses and boils, and he lost everything. And there's no reason for this other than this other nigga said, "You go say you don't fuck with me no more." That's crazy, dog. Like I said, that shit is cult like. It offended me as a child, and that's crazy, bro. But this your man's Mars in the building. Let me know what y'all think about that. I'm out.